What is happening, everyone? It's Fantasy Friday. Time to unveil our very early tight end rankings. Let's get into it. So, guys, we're going to start with our first fantasy rankings for tight ends. This is very initial and very early, so we're going to go through it a little briefly. Top two, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. Why do I like Kittle a little bit more this year? Well, he finished second last year in PPR formats. He was about 20 points behind Kelce, but he missed 2 games. And also, he had a couple touchdowns called back early in the year as that offense was trying to get settled in. So he really could have been propelled into that number one spot. I think his target share is very good at about 23%. Even if they had a weapon, I think that he could be a top tight end. He will be the focal point of that offense. Kelce, I have him a little bit lower. That's no knack on him. It's just I think Kittle is going to outproduce him this year just by a little bit. Kelce is very safe at that number 2 spot. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his receptions. He's going to get probably close to 100 receptions again. He's going to probably get 6 to 8 touchdowns. That offense is just too good, and Kelce will have another terrific year. Number 3, I got Mark Andrews. The guy is a beast. He had a very good breakout year, finished top 5 in PPR formats. He had a very good target share as well, at about 22%, I believe. With no Hayden Hurst, that means that the tight ends are going to be him and Nick Doyle. I think he becomes a lot more of the receiving tight end, a lot more than last year. That frees up about 4% of target share, which is not that much, but I think Lamar Jackson will click a lot with Andrews this year, a lot more even than last year. I think he had about 0.9 fantasy points per route, which is very good, especially at the tight end position. Even if they add in another weapon, I think he will definitely get his share of target production next year. Number 4 is Zach Ertz, very reliable tight end year in and year out. He had a little bit of injuries down the stretch, and he does have some aging concern. He's going to be 30 this year. But with no receivers there in Philly right now, I think he's the clear number 1 target. He's going to get a ton of targets again next year. Depending on who they bring in the draft, his production could dip a little bit. But as for now, he's definitely safe in my top 5 at least. Number 5, Noah Fant. I think Fant is going to have a breakout year. Last year we saw he had tremendous season as a rookie. He finished top 16, I believe. He had 2 weeks where he was top 2 in the tight end category. He has the upside, in my opinion. I think Drew Lock can definitely develop into a very solid quarterback. They added Melvin Gordon, which I think will put a lot more defenders in the box. This has been a very good running game over the past few years, but they haven't had that big bruising back like Melvin Gordon. So I think now with him going in, I think we'll see a lot more play action looks. And I think Fant will have a terrific target share next year. I think he'll be utilized a lot more, and I think he'll get a lot of looks and have a very tremendous year. Number 6, Darren Waller. Really like Waller. I think he's a really good tight end. Broke out last year. He was utilized a lot. He had a 20% plus target share in that Raiders offense. They don't have many weapons. I think Hunter Renfrow can come on a little bit more next year. I think Jason Witten, though, I think he takes a little bit of target share from Waller at the tight end position. I know a lot of people aren't overly concerned. I'm not mightily concerned, but I think that's just enough reason to, put him right outside my top 5. Number 7, Hunter Henry. Terrific player. One of the things I really like is that Tyrod Taylor utilizes his tight ends a lot. Going back from 2015 to 2017, the tight end position had about 15% of the yardage production in that Bills offense for 3 years straight. That's enough of reason for me to put Hunter Henry very high because I think he's going to be utilized by Tyrod Taylor. Now, again, with the draft, another quarterback could come in. I don't really know how that's going to shake things up. That's why I wasn't putting Henry a little bit higher on this list. He also has that injury concern, which is always scary at that position. But regardless, I think he is very safe at number 7. Next player up, Tyler Higbee. Down the stretch, he had monster performances. The last 5 or 6 weeks or so, he had 7+ receptions in each week. I mean, the Rams, they switched their personnel. They went to 12 personnel, utilized 2 tight ends a lot. I think Higbee can have a really good year. Right now, I have him at 8, but he really could go as high as 6, as low as 10 to 11, in my opinion. It really depends about what the Rams do next year with their personnel, and also Gerald Everett. I'm a little concerned him coming back could take some production away from Higbee because both of those guys had really good weeks throughout the year. Everett got hurt down the stretch, so that really freed up a lot of targets for Higbee. And now there's no Brandon Cooks, so which guy goes into that number 3 receiving role? It'll be very interesting to see how it shakes out in the LA Rams offense. Number 9, TJ Hockenson. Came out first week, had a 25 fantasy point week. He has the skill set, in my opinion. He has the draft capital. He was taken 8th overall. He has the ability. But what hurt him last year was injuries and injuries to the Detroit Lions quarterback. I am so high on him as a player, talent-wise. Coming out of Iowa, he showed a lot of the great characteristics you want to see in a receiving tight end, and he has that blocking pedigree a little bit. But will this offense stay healthy? Can Stafford stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? It's a little concerning. I put him at 9 mostly because a lot of guys in this range share similar abilities and have similar value, in my opinion. But I like the upside of his skill set a little bit more. Number 10, Jared Cook. Started out very slow last year. I attribute that to a lot of the Breeze injury. Down the stretch, he was very effective as a tight end. Finished actually as tight end 7 in PPR leagues. So he definitely has the capabilities. I think Sanders coming in, though, I think that'll take away from his target share a little bit. I think Thomas will definitely be the number 1 guy. Sanders could be like a 2-way, 2B with Jared Cook. I also think Alvin Kamara has a big bounce back season. So although I think Cook could be very productive in some games, I don't think it'll be consistent enough, which is why I have him a little bit lower this year at number 10. Number 11, Jack Doyle. Really like Doyle this year to be a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2. There's not much competition in that offense. It's also noted that Phillip Rivers uses his tight ends a lot. We saw that with Hunter Henry last year. And also, he utilizes his short game passing a lot. I think that favors Doyle as a tight end. Obviously, the running backs out of the backfield. But with Ebron gone and not much on the receiving front right now, it's looking to me like Doyle could be a favorite target of Rivers. Now, again, I think his upside is limited, so I don't see him being a high-end tight end 1. Maybe mid-tight end weeks, depending on the week, he could possibly get up to that level. But I like his volume to be relatively safe, to be in that low-end tight end 1 category. Last guy up, Irv Smith Jr. I talked a bit about him last week for my YouTube video with my sleepers. I think that he could be a very productive tight end. I think with Diggs gone, Thielen obviously becomes the number 1 guy. This team is going to still be a run-heavy team. I don't think there's a need for them to really bring in a top-end wide receiver to fill Diggs' shoes. I think they could get away with what they have. I think Irv Smith Jr. is talented enough to where they can utilize him in the passing game. He had a 10% target share last year. That number should definitely increase, being that Diggs is not there. And also him and Rudolph were pretty much on the same pace target-wise and reception-wise. It's just Rudolph found the end zone a little bit more, which is why his production was a lot greater. I think that Smith Jr. could definitely get in the end zone a little bit more this year, making him a sleeper to watch for as the tight end 1 potential. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave a comment, leave a like. Who are some tight ends you like on this list? Also, let us know who we may have too high or too low. Again, these are our initial rankings, so they are subject to change. But let us know what you think. And please hit the subscribe button as we're trying to grow this channel. We really appreciate all the support. See you guys next time.